All right, we are live now. Welcome to another wonderful episode with an amazing woman in the room, the founder of Women on Global Stages. Me, I want to be on the global stage. Oh. I don't know
You're
about
already on
you.
the global stage.
No, not this one, though. Global, global, global. I know the arcaders. Maybe with your
Yeah,
explanation today, we'll get to know the cadres. Yeah. How to move wherever you are, even if you are a wife, you're already on a global stage. So we want to
sure.
move to the highest of it all. Thank you so
Yeah,
much, Drew, for saying yes to this. I
you're
celebrate you.
welcome.
So let's
You're
get to
welcome.
meet you again. You're gonna introduce yourself with steez, like I would always say. I think I got that word from Gen Z's. They say they are doing it with steez. So you're gonna
Yeah,
introduce yourself with steez, and then just tell us what you think we should know about you, and possibly for those that want to also reach out to you, they get to know through there. So go ahead.
all right. I'm so delighted to be here. Thank you so much, Coach Faith. I'm so excited. Anything that has to do with women, I am fully pumped up. All right, so my
Okay.
name has already been introduced. Zero Stevens is my name, and I am the founder of Women on Global Stages, a safe space where we help educate, inspire, and empower women to own their voices and be on the global stages. Because, like you said, every woman is already on the global stage, whether you are in the house doing anything at all, you're on the global stage. But there is this
Mm,
mindset that we also want the women to have that there is much more to
mm,
them than just being at home and allowing the potential, the purpose God has invested inside of them to just be dormant. So that is what we do
mm,
in the Women on Global Stages to ignite those things inside of women, those gifts and potential. Then, on the other hand, I'm a women's identity and purpose coach. I help emerging women leaders to discover themselves and to know that there is much more to them than what they are doing currently and to aspire to always go higher and higher and higher because there is basically no limit for any woman. That's one thing. We
mm.
remove lead from the mindset of a woman. So I've been doing this work for the past 2 years now, and it's been from glory to glory with different amazing testimonies from women and women that have been branded to stand on the global stages as well. So that is what it is in a nutshell. Thank you so much, Coach Faith, for having me.
Yay! Such a blessing to have you in the room. What an honor. Thank you so, so much for saying yes to this amazing environment. You know, leading women, talking to women is such a beautiful thing. While you were talking, I just remembered this book. I don't know if you've read this book.
Yeah,
Men are
yes,
from
most
Mars,
of the
women are from Venus. And there's such a beautiful thing about women in a community, and there's so much that can be ignited, there's so much that can be done, and I really want to celebrate you for doing the work. Like you said, you've been doing the work. It's not easy to do the work, seriously. That's one of my major mantra. Doing the work is a lot, and I want to
There's a lot.
thank you for saying yes to purpose, for becoming the light through which other women and men out there. One of our speakers said, I don't only coach women, I coach men too. So that women and men can really begin to see the light as well. Thank you.
Yeah, you're
Now,
welcome.
for focused women, we want to talk to them about building, building. For the longest of time, we aspire to build, though. We don't have an aspiration problem. We don't.
So
Especially,
true. So
especially
true.
now that we have a lot, because of that aspiration, that's why we also compare as well. We compare ourselves with others, we compare
Yeah.
our giftings, our abilities because of aspiration. So we want to talk about how to stop shrinking. Even though we aspire, but deep down we also shrink ourselves, and that's why we don't get to emerge on those platforms that God has already written our names on. So I want to ask you, as a woman on global stage, as their leader, as their coach, um, any woman that want to be on global stage right now, I see you as their leader and as their coach. So I was talking to my lady that spoke yesterday. She's the founder of the Sent Woman. I said, you are sent to us. You are the leader of the Sent Woman. I'm not the leader of the Sent Woman. And for you as well, I'm one of your students. So you are the coach of women on global stages. Of course, I'm one of your students too. Being on that platform gives you that authority to be able to speak to women who are on global stages. So I want to ask you, Have you ever had seen women in your community who are shrinking, or have you ever experienced it yourself? Are you still there? Think he's stuck. Coach Uju, are you there? Who is live with us? I see Joma age of 4. I think Shoma, you are going to receive an award though, because you are always in class. Thank you so much. I'm looking at this name like someone that I know. Mm. Shoma, are you the one currently going through my coaching program? Are you the one that I spoke to yesterday? All right. Who else is here? Tell me your name and where you are joining from. Uju Ruth Stephen will join us soon. She's going to be talking to us on Okogochi is also here. Esther Ogochi, well done, well done. She's going to be talking to us on how to stop shrinking and start building. Yes, that is the conversation for today. All right, so it's been a beautiful experience. How was the last session? For those of you that were here, how was it? I hope you learned a lot. I hope you were blessed. Yay. I hope you were blessed from that session. Um, we took in a lot of amazing things, and we are hoping to see how we can really um, build from that perspective, from that angle, and truly take transformation to the next level. Okay, so after this session, we have 2 more to go. Okay, Esther is joining us from Enugu. Esther, thank you for joining. I hope you are taking notes. All right, I hope you are taking notes. Okay, so let's wait for Uju to join us. This conversation is going to be hot also. I can't just wait to see how we take this to the next level. Yay. Okay, it was awesome and superb. You see, when I ask you guys to share your experiences, please always detail it. Tell us that aspect that was superb, not just the buzzword. Don't give us a general statement. Give it
I'm
to
so
us the way
sorry.
it
The
is.
network is really not
Yeah,
stable. Thank you so much, Sister.
we're in Nigeria. It's all good. It's a wicked problem that we all suffer from. Thank you for coming back. Can we go on now? We can't see you. We can't see you. Are you there? Shoma says, top notch. Please don't give us a blanket statement. Always say it the way it is. Okay, are you back now? Are you back?
Yes, yes, I pray so. I don't know why the network is so unstable, and I'm using. Yeah, I am.
You are
Hopefully,
using
I
what?
hope you can see me now. Can you? I'm using this MTN fiber optic. I don't know why it's not stable this afternoon. I don't know.
If I show you my background, you see different ones. They
The
don't
network
work.
is so
They work to
unstable.
a level and they stop. I think they said the best now is Starlink, but someone needs to get a Starlink. Are you there?
Hmm.
Are you there?
Perhaps. Because I don't that. Okay.
Okay, let's go on. So I was saying that
Yeah.
I was saying that this network thing, just leave our people, whether it's fiber, whether it's whatever. I've also seen somebody using Starlink that it was fluctuating. So none of them is perfect. Some days they just misbehave. I've bought so many that I dumped somewhere. All right, Uju, thank you. Let's go on. Can you tell us now how to stop shrinking
Yeah,
and
that's true.
start building? Have you ever shrunk before? Have you ever experienced it yourself? Are you there? Okay, let me read from you. Thank you. Linda says it was an eye opener. I am learning not to compare my journey with others. Every season is for me to learn something. Some prayers don't get answered because God is working in me first. Linda, can we just copy this and go paste it in the room? Linda, can you copy this? I don't know if I can copy it. This makes a lot of sense, man. Oh, anyway, when we are watching the replay, we'll see it on the screen. But if you can, just copy it after now. You share it in the room with us. Thank you so much for taking us there. Thank you. Okay, Uju is coming back with a bang. ah, Esther, can you give us clear statement on what you learned? Shoma, can you do that for us? Uju, are you back?
I'm tired. The network
Sorry,
is.
sorry, sorry. It's Nigeria
We hope.
factor.
No, yes. Okay, so let's just go straight. Now that the network
Okay.
is a bit stable. Okay, so
So
you were
then let's
asking
not cheat and waste time. So I was asking if you've ever shrunk before, if you've ever experienced shrinking before, because we say stop shrinking and start building. Have you ever
Yeah.
shrunk in some ways? All right, if you have, share with us so that we can take it up from there. We'll lay that foundation
All
and
right.
then we'll not share the lessons.
All right. So yes, very well. Like what you started with before, you were saying something about we are all trying to build, but we don't have a
Yeah.
building problem. But the question is, that is even what makes us to kind of compare ourselves and try to, to become bigger or try to become bigger than we are. There was a season in
Mm,
my life that I knew that there was much more to me. As a matter of
mm,
fact, I got everything I am doing today as far back as 2008. But I
mm,
didn't step into it fully until 2024. And even at that time, when it became so clear that I have to do what I have to do, I now started having this thought in my head that I am not enough, that there is
mm,
something I need to do extra for my message and my story to resonate with the woman out there. I felt I needed an extra degree, I needed an extra lesson, extra, something extra. And that kept
mm,
me at a spot. I doubted myself. I felt I was not enough. So one day I was listening. That is why it is very good for us to always, open our minds to learning, listen to coaches, listen to inspirational messages and all of that. So one day I was listening to a coach and he said something very, very striking. He said, that story you have, don't think it is too small because there is someone somewhere that needs your story to shine. That
mm,
was it for me. And that was how I now started thinking to myself that, wow, so I can actually inspire another woman to start taking decisive steps towards becoming. And
mm,
I've been shrinking my life. I've been thinking I am not enough. I need to learn this. In fact, those days I would even go online. I'll go on Google and be trying to know more courses I need to take, things I need to do extra for me to be able to stand and speak to my fellow women. It took
mm,
that day for me to my eyes to be open to see that I don't need to shrink. I don't need to start editing myself to become perfect, to be able to reach another woman. In fact, it doesn't even have to be perfect, that I just have to be myself and own my voice for another woman to be inspired. So, yes, that is one of it. There were episodes in the past, but this one stood out for me because that's what is directly connected to what I'm doing today. Thank you so much.
Wow, wow, interesting. Now, I want you to take it a step further. Do women really shrink themselves from really doing the work? Do women shrink themselves? And if they do, how do they do it in such a way that sometimes they don't even recognize? Because I know
Yeah,
that this thing can be subtle. You may just be
yes,
like you are saying. I've had a lot of people in my community who will just be learning, 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 buying different courses, different
yeah,
programs, jumping from one place to another. But at the end of the day, if you go deeper and ask them questions, why are they doing all of those things? It goes beyond I want to learn. It goes
mm,
beyond that. It's
yeah,
really more of the fact that they do not believe in their inherent capabilities. So they are
yeah,
trying to see how they can edit, like you said, add one or two layers so that they can be fully fit, they can be validated in their mind's eye that they are not qualified to do the work. So do women shrink unknowingly without them even coming into that level of understanding? Do they do it unknowingly,
Sure,
subtly?
they do. They do a lot. In fact, it is one of the major challenges that women have in our world today. And why they do that is that we have what is called social conditioning. A woman starts from childhood and is being told that she needs to do more to become. In
Mm,
those days when our parents would tell us that, don't you know you're a woman? Don't you know that you're
mm,
supposed to do more? And you might have your sibling who is a boy beside you, and they are not being cautioned the way you are. So we grew up with this mindset that there is something we still need to do. There is always an extra thing to do. And then you see a woman being told at a very young age, let's say 20, 21, 25, don't you know that you have to behave in this way for a man to marry you? Don't you
can
know
you
if
imagine?
don't know that if you behave this way, you are no more how do they call it? A wife material. So you see,
Okay.
there is this social conditioning that every time we hear it in society, unconsciously women now
Mm,
believe that they need to do more. They are not qualified. I don't think I can. It now integrates in everything they do, including
mm,
becoming who they're supposed to be. So this is
mm,
something that starts from the childhood. That is why in the project I'm about to embark on, I call it the Becoming Project. I'm trying to go back to the root because there was a research I made recently, and I found that it is not enough to talk about to women leaders. We have to go back to the roots where it all starts from, and that is from teenage age, at least when there is an understanding. From those elementary ages of maybe 11 to 18, that's the formation where it all starts from, where a child is already hearing what that, don't you know you're a woman? So we need to start that early to recondition their minds because that is where it actually starts from. So yes, women shrink and they shrink till tomorrow. And then the social media spaces is not also helping, where you see a lot of people coming up to doctor their testimony, doctor their process, doctor who they are, doctor their images. They go to that extent. A woman no longer believes that naturally she is beautiful. She believes that there should be extras in her life before she becomes. So yes, women do shrink a lot.
so that also led to the what is really happening right now around the what's it called, plastic surgery, that women are doing,
Yeah.
the additions and all of that.
In fact,
So there's a distortion in self-image, and I
yes.
really wish you all the best in the program. And I know that we, a lot of more people need to be in that space. You're not just going to be able to do this alone. You need to be able to raise other people as well who will be so interested and passionate about that set of women. Because sometimes the work we try to do even in adulthood is not easy. It's not easy. That's why
Yeah.
I started off this conversation. Unlike me, I would want to teach, 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 teach. But I said, no, let them not hear only my voice. There are stories individually that we carry that can heal one person. If you can
Yeah.
speak to one person, another person can speak to another person, it becomes a revival, it becomes a movement. This is really a
Yeah.
movement. It's not just a coaching
Oh,
environment alone, it's a
oh.
movement. So let me ask you personally, when did you first realize that you have been taking yourself so small on this path? When did you first realize it? And I want you to share that experience so that someone else who is listening may as well connect to that and say, okay, I think this is it for me. So when did you first realize it? Like you said, you caught the vision in 28, and then you waited 16 years before you started
Yeah.
implementing, 2024, before you started implementing, which is a long, long, long time. Like if you have a
Oh,
baby by that time, that baby should be able to, in fact, in the north, that baby should be married now,
yeah.
16 years.
Yeah.
So let me ask, when did you first realize that you were really taking yourself so small at that level?
All right. So before 2024, it started in 2022 when I
Okay.
finally left the classroom because I also was in the classroom for 15 years, where I taught
Wow.
in different categories. I taught in the nursery, primary, secondary, to the point of leading a school, administrating a school. So
Mm,
I know that the more I spend time in the classroom, because I love teaching a lot, but I discovered that the teaching wasn't giving me the 100% satisfaction I needed. I love teaching, but I find myself still in the wrong place. Now, 2021, the hunger started. There is this thing that happens to a visionary. There is a time you come to in life where you feel everything, nothing seems satisfying anymore. And you now start asking that deep question of who am I? Is this much more that I can offer to the world? That was what led me. I started having so many introspective moments. Sometimes I go to school, I am no longer excited as I used to. And 2022, I told myself, enough is enough. And I
Mm.
started taking decisive steps. And as at that time, I was just barely earning 30,000 naira for a month. So the whole scenario plus lack of identity, a lot of things were happening to me at that time. I knew that I needed to take a drastic step or I'm not going to leave that level. So 2022 was it for me. I now started taking courses. I started learning. I started active a veil or veils started lifting from my eyes. And that was when I realized that no, there is much more to me than what I did. So the first step I took then was I started a community then that I called Beyond the Classroom. I gathered
Mm.
teachers then, and I started teaching them about purpose. That was the first step I took. I started teaching teachers purpose, self-discovery, things that they can do extra, much more than, just, having just being confined in the classroom. And that was how it led to me knowing that, okay, you can actually speak to women. It reconnected me to 2008. And then I now started Women on Global Stages in 2024. 2024 was it for me, and I took up that step. So I would say that the first time the realization was so intense was 2022. I hope that answered the question.
Can you remember specifically what stirred up that realization? Was it just the
One,
hunger for more?
one of the major things that stirred that hunger was I was looking at my life. I saw that even as a classroom teacher, some of my colleagues, females especially, were coming to me, asking me questions like deep life questions that were so deep. Some of them came even confiding in me. And I now looked at it like, how can I be in the same place and we are all here? And most of the time, when I give them that solution or offer this, give them steps to take, they will take it, implement, and they will see results. They will take this and they will see results. And I wasn't, I now saw that, I think there is much more. That was the first thing that opened my eyes. Then secondly, I knew that for my life to scale, because at that time, I was so broke as a classroom teacher, despite I was looking up there. And they look up to me like someone who is already there. And I knew that to scale what I have, I need to take decisive steps. That was when I now started taking those courses. So the moment of realization was actually the questions that were coming to me. And I saw that I could help women. So that was it for me.
Interesting. I think I love what you've shared. You told yourself enough is enough. And then
Yeah.
you also said people started asking you profound questions. And
Yeah.
this is really beautiful. I think the last speaker said something that thank God we have more coaches and mentors now. I
Yeah.
remember as a student, I would always talk to my classmates, mentor as many of them as possible. But the truth was that there was no pathway, there was no knowledge on how to really structure. So for you, I think I love this thing. I need you to write it down. I don't know. You can still do a lot around that space beyond the classroom. That's a very beautiful vision beyond the classroom because there are so many teachers out there who are looking for more. It's something that you can really build and you can really target teachers
Yeah.
specifically, even as you do women on global stages. I just wanted to put
Sure.
that out. Now, you also have itemized out the steps that you took. You said you started learning, you started going for courses deliberately to renew your mind, which is quite beautiful. So, I want to ask you another question. How do you build something meaningful when you have spent years being told, directly or indirectly, that you are too much? How do you build something meaningful when you have been told over the years, whether directly or indirectly, that you are too much? How do you do that?
Oh, okay. So, like I said, the first thing you have to do is to come to a place of realization. It has to
Okay.
come from within. a place of conviction. No matter what people say, no matter what people tell you, if you're convinced about a particular cause, nobody can deter you from it. So it will first start
Mm,
from you saying enough is enough, like I did. Then, when I was taking those courses, my colleagues then felt I was crazy. They felt, are you not doing too much? They were
mm,
asking me directly, are you not doing too much? You still have job. We have, you know how tedious the classroom can be. And I was
mm,
still taking courses. I was still showing up online to start, because I started there and then to position myself on Facebook. So I was
mm,
hearing questions, are you not doing too much? But one thing is that the conviction is already there. So nobody could
mm,
it was so discouraging from my environment. If I had
mm,
listened to my environment, I wouldn't have. And I have my kids to cater to. So the first thing is for you to come to that point of realization. Once the vision is clear, in fact, if possible, write it like what the scriptures say, make it plain.
mm,
Remind yourself every day that this is what it is for me. Like me, I told myself, in the hunger, in the pain, this is what it is for me. And I must work towards achieving this goal. And I started. Despite what I heard, the conviction was propelling me and I was going and going. Then the next thing is beware of your environment as well. In as much as you're
mm,
convinced, if you don't surround yourself with the right people, before you know it, you start believing what they have to offer or what they say. So, if possible, recondition, how do they put it now? Change your environment. You can change your environment, can change people around you, can decide who to listen to and who not to, who to even share the vision with. Because when you share it with them, you know that definitely they will discourage you. So the best thing is to remove yourself from wherever it is that you're being told that you're too much and focus on the goal. Then keep going and then make sure you find yourself in a community, because that's the beauty of community, where you're held to tell that you can do this. All right. So there is lots
mm.
more, but let's stop because of our time.
Wow, that's interesting. I think I love the way you are breaking it down. For someone that is listening, that you already have a blueprint. There is nothing like I am too small. You already
Mm,
have a blueprint. I think many of you joined this program because of that realization and that hunger for more. If you ask, that hunger
yeah.
for more, how can I become a focused woman? Because you have seen that you are doing many things. Now you want to be focused. You want to be able to do the things that truly connect to purpose. And that's the step she's breaking down. All right. So I like you to also look at the common reasons women give for playing small. Now we said that women aspire a lot, aspire to perspire. The desires they have, they are enormous, but the
Mm,
discipline to steward those desires are not there. So,
mm.
what are the most common reasons that women give for playing small? What are some of those reasons? I'd like you to touch
One
on them.
of it is, I'm a woman. We are weaker, but I'm a woman. That's the first thing you will hear.
Yeah.
I cannot do this because I'm a woman. I'm so
Uh-huh.
fragile. I have a lot. I cannot combine it with my family. My kids are still little. I am still
Mm,
this, I am still that. That's the reason. And before you know it,
right.
they will even tell you that, don't worry, I'm coming back to it. Let my children come to this certain age. And when those
Can you
children come to that,
imagine?
don't worry, the excuses will keep building. And before you know it, it is no more. I remember then my
Mm,
son was still 2 years. I will back him and I will still be in a webinar talking to somebody. It was not easy. There is not even any perfect time. So the major reason women give is I am a woman. That name woman, they associate it with weakness, frailty, fragile, being too fragile, being emotional. Any little thing gets to us, any little discouragement, we abandon it altogether and we move on to the next one. You see, that's why a lot of us don't stay true through a course. We don't do one thing and see to the end of it. We do it today, we abandon it tomorrow because we feel that this thing is not working and it's stressing me. The stress is just too much. The vision has to stress
right.
you. There will definitely be processes. So you must be open to those processes and work through it diligently until you come to that global stage. So that's what I know that women give as excuses a lot. And some of them will say, my husband.
Mm,
My husband did not support. That's another side of it. But once I hear the team of my husband said I should not That's another story for another day. In fact, another topic for another day. Because those kind of women, no matter what you say, my husband said I should not, and that settles it. So that's another excuse that they give.
As you are talking, I know of a lot of women. In fact, I would say 99.9% of
Yes.
women who often come to my space, they will go through coaching clarity calls. They'll be like, oh, Coach
Wow.
Faith, I really need you to be my coach. I want to learn. I want to do this. Then you now tell them, okay, pay money. And my husband traveled. He said he will come
Yes.
back next week. When he comes, I will speak with him so that we can conclude it, whether I should
Exactly.
register.
You see
I said,
that a
but you
lot.
need this thing. Are you supposed to
Uh,
be asking whether you should register, or if you don't have the money, you ask your husband to support you? Which one is you want to ask him whether you need the coaching? I'm like, he said,
because
yes,
some
I
of
need
them don't
to ask.
even have the money. Coach Faith, some of them don't also have that finance. Some of them feel that
Okay,
their
I
husband
understand.
should be the one to sponsor. But the thing is, why would you wait for your husband to sponsor something that is for me? I don't want to wait for someone because definitely he will give you 1001 reason why you shouldn't do it. He will tell you that you
Yes.
have children to manage, the house is there, things are there for you to do. Why would you even bother? Don't worry, wait, let the kids come to a certain age. So if you know it, for me, what I tell women is start on time to save. That's the aspect of finance. Save and
Yes.
save
Save.
and save. Don't wait for the man to tell you that, don't worry, my husband will start saving. If it's the little money, put it away. I did that at some point in my life where I had to tell myself that to scale through to where I need to be, I need so amount of money. What did I do? I started doing targeted savings. Every month, I removed a
Mm.
certain amount of money. And that was what gave me the first I paid the first course I ever took, which was 60,000 naira. And that 60,000 naira felt to me like 600,000 naira then. But I had to work towards it. I had to save it for 6 good months. I was keeping away 10,000 naira. That was someone who was determined to make it. So, giving an excuse of my husband, you know that that person is not yet convinced personally.
Mm.
Because if you're convinced, even your husband will buy to the vision. Your husband will
Mm.
see what you're doing and be
You
forced to
sell
buy
him into
to
the vision.
he will definitely be like my husband when he sees me doing something. You have taken another one because he knows that I am not waiting. He knows,
Mm.
and yeah, he respects that thing about me because I didn't start by giving him the handle. Okay, let me wait until he gives me validation. Remember, we all have our lives as well to live, so that's just what it is.
That's quite fascinating. In fact, your life is an inspiration. You said you were receiving 30K and you could save 10K per month.
Okay.
What a sacrifice for
Mm,
6 good months. That's a lot of sacrifice, man.
mm,
And so what you have shared, I think every woman should take it to heart. For me, I learned this from an amazing woman called Lisa Nichols many years ago. I think that was like it should be 12 to 15 years ago. I was just listening to her that very day, and she was sharing her story of how she used to save money, and she calls it funding my dream. And I
yeah.
have an account where I save money and I call it funding my dream.
Yes.
I don't have
Yes.
an ATM to that account. I don't have nothing to that account. The only time I can withdraw from that account is that I have to go to the bank. And when you remember the stress of going to the bank, you
Yes.
just have to sit
You
back.
know it to be
So that's a
one.
very,
Yeah.
yes. So that's a very remarkable one to say that even if it's 1K, you must not wait for
Mm-hmm.
salary. Even if it's 1,000
Yes.
naira, you can
Keep
throw
it
it. Even if
aside
it's 2K,
for
you
personal
can do
development.
save it there.
Mm.
Yes, 10% or 5% is okay. I think Brian Tracy says he used to do 3.3% of every of his income. 3.3%. So you can do 2%, you can even do 1%. If you are receiving up to 100K, 1% is 1,000, right? You can even do
1,000.
that.
Mm.
Yes. So you may be thinking it's small, but as it compounds, you wouldn't
Yeah.
even know how far it will grow. It's been beautiful. Let me ask you two more questions. This is a very important conversation we're having here, and I believe lives are getting liberated by God's
Yeah.
grace. Now let's talk about FOMO. Is it FOMO or FOPO? Okay, let's talk about FOPO, fear of other people's opinion. You know, this
Yeah.
thing bedevils every woman. I don't know if men also suffer from it too, but I'm talking about my gender now. The fear of other people's opinion. Sometimes we want to do, well, like what will people say? My husband, my uncle, my village people. Somebody told me one time, the person
Mhm.
was participating in the reading challenge, Uju, and then the person posted the challenge for that. It wasn't even a video, it was just a write up that the person added the picture. The next thing was the person started calling me from WhatsApp. Coach Rate, please that post I made on your Facebook group then used to be the leaders group. Please delete it. I said, I don't understand. Am I the one that posted it? You posted and we approved. Delete it. I said, what happened? Why should we delete it? He said, because everybody in my house now, they are calling me, oh, my uncle, my aunties, they are angry with me. They said, I posted on Facebook. In fact, I was rolling on the floor. I told my husband, we're all laughing. I said, you posted this thing, so your village people have seen it now. They say you should go and delete it, and you are okay. So what am I saying in a nutshell? I think the fear of other people's opinion is really a problem for a lot of women. I like to touch on that a bit. What's your thought, and how can women, in the light of that, also be able to pursue their purpose, even in the midst of what others are saying?
All right. Okay, let me give a typical example. Like what you shared right now is very hilarious, but I understood what that woman faced because I've also had that encounter with a lady I coached. So the first question she asked me was, ma'am, how do I marry this my new status with what people already know about me? Because her own was very sensitive. Yes. So the first thing I told her was, first of all, go to your Facebook and unfriend them. You need to unfriend those kind of people because definitely there is nothing that they will say that will be in support of what you're doing. So that's the
Unfriend,
first one.
yeah,
You need to unfriend those kind of, because there's nothing, they won't even buy from you. So any need, there is no
that's true.
need. They will even tell you that you're too much. They are the ones that will remind you of your history when you were a baby. So there is no need. You don't need them in your
Someone
circle.
told me you're not very big, oh, I blocked them immediately.
Do you see that? That's what I'm saying. So you need to just first remove those ones from your space. Because women get easily emotional. So you must be very, very what will I call it, sensitive and a forward thinker. Think of those people, remove them from your list, delete them. Then, like I shared before, if you're in the space where you always hear that you're too much, do yourself good by removing yourself from such company or from such a relationship or whatever it is. Because the opinions of people will definitely never allow you to move forward. Even your husband, that is your vision partner, sometimes he can
Visual
even think,
supporter.
eh, sometimes he will even tell you, are you sure? Not even to talk of when it is now coming from someone outside. So that thing,
Yeah.
that is, I will still go back again to that conviction. Before you go on, be sure that it is you and your God. You have come to this point where I burn the bridge, I go no back. You must come to that point. If you don't come to that point, you will easily be swayed by opinions. In fact, any little challenge that will come from that vision, you are off. Because definitely to build that vision, it is a lot. To build a vision is a lot. So if you're not personally convinced and you have told yourself that this thing, I must get it done, no matter what you do, you will never get there. People's opinion will easily before you know, your mom will even call you. I heard you are now sharing this, da, da, da. And before you know it, you say, mom, blah, blah, blah. She will tell you why you have to, that your village people are looking out for you. Or you know that they kill us when we are showing up our faces on Facebook. And that's all for you. So you just have to be personally convinced and deweed your environment, take away things
I
from
think I
you.
thought I was the only person that the mom would call for issues like that. Sometimes my mom would call me and say, "That clothes when you wear for that video, don't wear them again."
You can see. Oh my God.
Say,
Uh,
sometimes she will call and say, she's in Lagos. She will call and say, why your face can't dey like that for that thing when you do for that place?
okay,
You know,
now you can
I will just
see.
give her and say, Mommy, relax.
Oh my
Oh
God.
my goodness.
I
So
know
somebody
they
is saying, I'm so
they
loving
never
this
believe
session
that
because
we
what I'm
grow.
facing. Okay, say what?
They never believe that we are grown women. So they will always be looking
No,
out.
which grown women? Are you grown in your way? Your African parents, you can never grow. We are currently reading a book in the community called Set Boundaries and Have Peace. So we're
Mm.
discussing that, see, you see these set boundaries. It's not work for African parents, oh, because the author was saying that before your parents will come to your house, they should take permission.
But
I say,
we're not
except your
here.
parents are not living in the same city. That's when they will inform you that they
Yes,
are coming. If it's the same city,
that's
just
it.
yeah, pop, pop, on the, okay, you now tell the
They
mommy
will
go
just
back. You
come
did not take
out
permission.
invited.
That would be the end of it. So it's
Oh my
well, I really
goodness.
can understand what you are sharing. So women, we are encouraging you, please take the bold step. Let go of FOPO. It's real. Let go of it. Fear of other people's opinion. One of the speaker, Faith Obuje, says we should change it to JOMO, right? JOMO, change it to JOMO. It's important. Okay, so from what you have shared, Uju, can we ever stop shrinking? Now, I wanted to also
Hmm.
add one thing to what you said before you talk about if you can ever stop shrinking. The two most difficult things that a woman can ever embark on in life that I know of, I don't know if you have another one, is marriage, number one, and two,
Yeah.
your vision. Because you said vision is not easy to carry it, and you kept talking about conviction, just like you became convinced to marry your partner, even when people are telling you he head bend, he why his neck long like this. You say, "Mom is the best thing that happened to me." Oh." My mom will say, "Where's your darling, darling? Your darling, darling that you chose." I hope you are
Amongst
enjoying your
all
darling,
that,
darling. Oh.
amongst all of
So
that, he stood out.
you said what?
I said, amongst
What?
all of that, he stood out now. No matter how, he's the one who
Yes.
stood out.
So that's
Darling,
why they will
darling.
ask you, how is your sweetheart, your darling, darling? Not the way they will say it like, now you carry your cross. Uh-huh. So what I'm what I'm saying in a nutshell is those are the two most difficult things. And if you must take up that step, you must be ready to do the work. You must be convinced, like Uju has rightly
Yeah.
shared. You must be convinced. And that's why we're having these conversations with women who are also doing the work, who are in the feed. We're not saying that we have it 100%, but we're saying that we're on a journey. And on that
Hmm.
journey, there's so much we can begin to communicate and talk about so that others can also learn on that same path. Okay. Someone is saying something. Uju, before you talk about that, that will be my final question for you before you give us your final words. The person is saying, same here. There will be like your face is dull. You look stressed. I stopped because of people's opinion, but I'm back now. Yeah, Linda
Please
is
don't stop.
back. Linda, send me a
Don't
DM. I
stop.
love to know what you are into. Linda
Don't
is
stop.
back.
They will definitely give you
Hallelujah.
their opinions. That's so true.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. So, can we ever stop shrinking, Uju?
The question is not. The question is, can we ever stop shrinking? Because the truth is that sometimes we still have those. That shrinking comes with a lot of voices in our head, and a
Yeah.
lot of limiting beliefs, imposter syndrome, and fear of the unknown. So we can stop shrinking, but you must have built yourself to the level where you have to know how to defeat the inner voices inside of you. You must have to come to the point where you have to train yourself to believe that no matter what it is, I will keep advancing. So we can stop shrinking only if we have decided to build our capacity to the point where we are no more stopped by fear, because fear is definitely going to come. There will be times that you're going to have this belief that, are you sure I can move this mountain? But you now have to tell yourself that no matter that fear, I have to keep going. So women can actually stop shrinking only if they have been, sold out to that thing and they now start taking steps. And there's another thing. Yes, I believe women can stop shrinking if they start implementing more than they are acquiring knowledge. There is this thing about learning and learning and learning. Sometimes a lot of people hide behind the learning curve and they're not taking any decisive action. And because you're just there, you're afraid to advance, to take that step. So my thought this afternoon will be, take that step. When you must have taken it, you now see that yes, I did this. One thing you are able to execute will give you the courage to do more. And before you know it, shrinking becomes something minimal. It might not be
Mm.
100%. Sometimes it can come in once in a while through that
And
loud voice.
disappear.
That is,
Mm.
and that is when you have to surround yourself with the right people, talk to someone, let someone know that, okay, this is what I'm going through, maybe a mentor, a coach, or someone that is rightly holding you by the hand. But 100% shrinking, we may not be able to take it away the 100%, but at least to a very large extent.
I think what you are saying is so correct. I was listening to the author of Purple Cow, the marketing guru Seth Godin, and he
That's
said
God in
it
there.
started. He started in 1990. And where was I? It started. He said the way you said is like love is what you know. It
Yes,
started in
it's a-
1990, and he said at
wow.
this level that he is he still suffers from imposter syndrome.
Very
That
well.
imposter syndrome comes when you're about to do something great. And then you
Big,
start to
yeah.
ask yourself, can I do it? Especially something
Hmm.
that you have never done before. If you have been
Before.
speaking for years and you are now have an opportunity to go and speak on a platform like the TDJ's platform or a platform
Yeah.
like Dress, you will
If you come
definitely be
again,
afraid. Yeah, it will
sure.
come. But
You
your
come
ability to
again.
keep moving, like you
Hmm.
said, is what eliminates it totally. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Uju. Uju, we have
You're welcome.
maximized our 45 minutes, although 10 minutes was off because of network, but we have maximized it, and I
Yeah.
believe we have all been blessed. So please go back and watch the replay. Okay, like Uju rightly said, for you to stop shrinking, you must continue to build capacity. That's where lifelong learning comes in.
Yeah.
Lifelong learning. Every morning, I have a routine of learning at least 3 to 4 hours. Every single morning, I learn for the past six
Yeah.
years. Whether I'm
Hmm.
reading a book, I'm listening to my coach, I'm watching a video of the course I've bought every single morning. And I
Yeah.
envision, I meditate, I pray.
Hmm.
I don't miss
Yeah.
it. Immediately I wake up after LinkedIn, I move on. I'm off for it. Till 11, 12, I'm on it. So you have to be deliberate to do that.
Yeah. It's
Lifelong learning is the only
intentional.
way we can move on.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the only way you can be swift. So would you give us your final word as we call it a day?
All right. So the final word before I came, I was thinking or I was praying about this, and one word I heard was, there is this thing about women. When you say don't shrink your voice, a lot of women tend to overdo it. Then when we now say, okay, own your voice, they will now become oversabi. Sorry to use that word, but that was what
Yeah.
even came to me. Immediately I was asking the Holy Spirit, what is the last thing I'm going to use to wrap this up? He said,
Mm,
tell the woman that it's shrinking doesn't mean, don't shrink, doesn't mean you now have to overdo things. There are some women that when they enter every room, they are loud. They enter everywhere, they are loud. Let there still be modesty in everything we do. We are not asking you to become so loud that you now cause disaster where there shouldn't. There should be minimal, at least in everything that we do, there should be modesty, or else it becomes something else. We're not trying to create women, or a lot of people, men have attacked me that I am raising women who are trying to attack men in
your
society.
husband. I
Yes,
get it.
but that's not true. There must be a balance. There must be a
Mm,
balance in everything. I tell them I'm not a feminist. In as much as I don't stand for so many negative things in society, I still believe in a woman being modest in character, being groomed of the Holy Spirit, allowing herself to be aligned with God and to move in the Spirit. But that doesn't mean you should shrink. Let there be a balance. And not shrinking here implies that let your vision be the one speaking, not your mouth. Sometimes we
mm,
run our mouth too much that we are not envisioning, we are not meditating, we are not living from the inside. We are living from the things we see other women do. We copy society, we go online, we see what Miss B is doing, and we want to copy it into what we are doing. We have to live from the inside and allow the Holy Spirit to do his inner work in us and then bring out those things we have, because there is a lot that has been deposited inside of us. Before I go,
mm,
please permit me to share this. I always tell women that we have two kinds of womb. It's not just the intellectual womb, but you have the biological as well. Imagine God giving you the power to bet a fellow human like you on the earth. How much more
mm,
he has deposited inside of you to also bet the earth. So understand that these two things, as you're betting children biologically, you're also betting ideas that will turn the world, that will make the world to be a better place. Think of it this way: I am a leader, I'm a woman. What do I do in every space and anywhere I enter? There should be that touch of your excellence everywhere you go. So don't shrink your voice, but at the same time, don't overdo it. Let there be balance in everything, because no matter what we do, the Bible says that beauty is nice. I had the book of Proverbs, it said, but a woman that fears the Lord shall be praised. So no matter what we do, take every modesty in everything we do. But at the same time, don't shut your vision down, or sometimes shut your mouth, shut it up, and then envision from the inside of you. Let your vision be the one doing the speaking. And before you know it, the world becomes a better place. I don't know if
hallelujah. On that note, we call it a day. Pastor Uju, you ended it as Pastor Uju You started as Coach Uju. In between, you were.
But you are the pastor, Mama.
Thank you so much. It's been a
You're
blessing.
welcome.
So we're going to watch the replay and see how we can
No,
take this to the next level. Thank you. Thank you.
you're
You just
welcome,
unlocked
ma'am.
the next dimension of your work as well.
Yeah,
I would maybe I
thank
will
you.
tell you more about that. Thank you so much. I appreciate
There's
you.
no problem.
Have
You're
an amazing
welcome.
day.
Yes,
Bye.
you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.